Hey guys, hey everyone. I'm just here to let you know that you have a new function on our Miyagi Do Lab. If you do not know yet what's Miyagi Do Lab, it's app. It's an official app that I have been working on for a couple of months, maybe even 1 year. I don't know how long for sure, but it's not like a, a full-time job. It's like sometimes when I have an idea, when I'm inspired, I just go there and make some code. The idea of the app is that you should have a couple of functionality that should be kind of easier for you to learn applied math. And recently, I start to write our next book that will be about computational thinking. We had an amazing live with Professor Casabov. You are welcome to check out. You are welcome to make questions, so on. And so I decided to. It was not kind of a plan, but I decided to implement. I decided to implement one of the chapters. Maybe I'll also implement the other. I have to be honest, it gave me a little bit of work because I had to implement. In general, when I do that, I'd like to implement first in a sandbox, then I implement on the app. It's just a kind of tip if you are a computer programmer, if you are see that you have a dev section on your app. It's called dev, which means that the developer. It's a couple of article. Maybe I may publish a couple of tips in the future. That's a kind of interesting tip. How you should code and so on. By the way, we do have a course. In fact, you have two courses. You have one in innovative bioinformatics, and you have one in unit testing with Angular. The app I'm using here is Angular. This app specifically, I have a couple of unit testing, but I do not have a lot of unit tests. To be honest, I'm still trying to incorporate this. I think that's a very important habit that every developer should incorporate on their computer life. See that you have as well an amazing life by Jonathan Carr, in which he talked about. I mean, I asked him a lot of questions about on his lab about unit testing, and he was a big defender of unit test. Initially, the live was supposed not to be about unit test, but as I was talking to Jonathan Carr, I was surprised how much he knew about computer programming. As I told him, I was kind of surprised. But the important thing I should keep in mind is that this app right now you do have a simple version on GitHub, but I think you should leave it on the MIT license in the future. But now you just have a simple version. But the full version is available for playing. If you wanna play around with the app, you do have the app. So if that said, I just wanna let you know that uh, all the sandbox, I like to call it sandbox, they're very simple sandbox. So the reason is not that you should be able to make high performance calculation or something like that. The idea that should be able to play to learn some very basic concept. We do have one now, which is already implemented about ordinary differential equations for our first book, which is in Portuguese. It's about math models applied in computational biology or biomathematics or bioinformatics, as you prefer. And the idea of the holy, and the idea of the idea behind the book was part of what was my PhD. I incorporate a lot. Just to take the opportunity, the big difference between my current book, that is computational thinking, that I'm writing right now, and the book that we already have. I myself have 6 books now on Amazon. There is one from this channel, which is about mathematical models in Portuguese, and about 4 about the research. They are in Portuguese, but you do have one in English about the computer programming. This one, computer thinking, will be in English. Just use the opportunity, the difference between this book now and the book that I wrote is this one I'm doing a huge amount of research. I mean, most of the content of the book will be new, will be novel. So that's the reason if you follow my work, if you follow my books on Amazon, that may take a while. I'm not sure yet how long it. I hope not to take too long because I do not want to wait too much, like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to write a book. I mean, right now I'm a full-time writer on Amazon, so I do have all the time to write. Not saying that I do. I mean, I have some personal stuff to solve. I mean, life is not that simple that you just I did a PhD, I did a Master of Science. I know that life is not that in the sense that life will stop for you. There's a book called Deep Work, which I do recommend to anyone that is working with researching university-like stuff. Deep Work, they have an example there about several writers that they had to somehow stop the world to write, such as the one of Harry Potter. It seemed that she paid for a hotel so she could stay away from life for a while. And for us, it's not very easy. When you write a book, you still have to deal with life, and until the book is able to sell, you do not even know if the book will sell. You have to write, and you do not unless in the case of a considerable amount of writers, I mean, that I know, they write the book under the context of a job. So, but I do believe that I'm not sure that it gives you all the power that you have, because when you are full time, you can write a lot in the sense that you can think, you can give the full time. I like to say that when you fail, make sure that you tried 100%, at least all the energy you have. That's what I'm doing right now. If I fail, I not fail because I didn't try. I will fail because things didn't work the way I wanted. That's all. Out of my control. With that said, I should say one thing. This app here is a free app. What is a free app? Heroku, he allows you to deploy app. In this specific case, I'm using MiniStack. I'm going to leave for you, maybe in the description of the video, a couple of articles I wrote in Medium about MiniStack. One about MiniStack in TensorFlow Js, which is I'm using right now. If you get curious about the application I'm using to implement the artificial network, is TensorFlow Js, which is, by the way, I do have let me just show you here. See, you have login section. Here. Then you go do your login. I'm right now in login section with Gmail. I mean, everyone has a Gmail. So you may ask yourself, why should I make a login on a website? So far, I don't have too much I have a bug on the site I wasn't able to solve. But this bug here, see that my course on testing on Medium, now my course on Udemy, it's about this app. So if you like the app, I do have a course teaching. I'm not teaching all the app because the app is very complex. So it takes me a lot of time. But anyway, you do learn how to make this kind of simple framework using the testing. Maybe in the future I may add more functional course. So you do have a course teaching how to build this app from zero. So I hope from zero to hero. Hope so. I'm not sure. Let me know if you are a new dev. I start my life on develop this app from zero. My postdoc, my second postdoc. I didn't know anything at all, but I was able to learn. So that's my thesis. That's if I were able to learn so fast, I guess everyone. I mean, people that have a computer program background and do not have too much difficulty with computer programming. But so far, the only advantage that you have if you make a login, the only advantage that you have is your name. Your name is here. So if you go out for it, for example, and you come back, your name will be there because there is the memory. You have to remember that you did the login. So as you see, the login. So this is the login. So let me just, before I forget, because I was trying to say it, but I forget. I'm using a free app. I'm not paying for that. It's for MiniStack. I'm going to show you how an article I wrote about MiniStack is on our site. But the point is that it's low. I mean, it's low. As I was talking to you in the beginning, I was trying to gain time because it was loud. But that's just the first access. Fortunately, as you see, the access is done. So whenever I do another access, now it's like maybe it's not so fast as it could be, but it's still a little bit fast compared to because they have this rule: if your app is free, the first access is free, is low. But after access, they say that the dyno, which is the portion of your memory in Heroku, they go to sleep. Then when you access, so it's a lot of time access. If a lot of people keep accessing at the same time, you do not see this problem. But if the app stay for a while without access, it will go to sleep. So the point is that what I want to show you, it is dev section. I mean, I'm going to show you the app as well, but let me show you the dev section if you are dev. So here I'm selected a couple of articles I wrote. For example, this one here is why I'm considered JavaScript deep learning. This one, I think this one I have to update. This one was published I don't know. Anyway, it was published in English, JavaScript in plain English. So let's see. I have to select more because I have much more data on my media account. If you go to read here, you go to my media account. But anyway, I have here a teaching. I will add here a section about the most likely I will add a section here about the Tensorflow Js behind the scene. I'm using Mermaid. I'm using a huge amount of tools here, but those are the very important. I would say very important too. I'm using this opportunity to talk, but I mean, I should add here, we do have a npm public repository. Maybe in the future I want to add more. What mean? I mean that I publish as well. All this magic, you think that the website is awesome, all this magic is from npm. npm is a public repository that you can have a huge amount of free apps built by somebody else. I built as well for this project. I built 2 apps. I'm thinking to add more as well. Anyway, I have to update this section here. But the important that I was saying, if you make the login, for now, the only advantage that you have is that you have your name here on the app, like welcome your name here. That's the only advantage now. The second advantage that in the future I may add some new functions. This new function will include, for example, in the future, this new function will include the example that you can save. You can actually save your simulations. I mean, you make some kind of analysis. That's not hard because behind the scene here, if you go here in the dev, if you go in the dev area, behind the scene, what I'm doing, I'm using this one here. Yes, I'm using this one here. I'm using Firebase and Angular. So I may write another article, Firebase in Tensorflow Js, but I do have some articles on that topic. But behind the scene, you have here Firebase and Angular. I do have an app here, just out of curiosity. Click on read more, then you go to the app. So I teach how to make this implementation. So the app already have the implementation. So I just have to save the information. With that said, another thing that I want to say is about the slow, when you upload, it's very slow. Another thing I want to say that why it's upload so slow. As I said before, it's like free. So it's free, the first upload is slow. But Angular, which the one I'm using here, to be more precise, I'm using Ministack, but right now I'm using Ministack just to deploy because I built all the app on Angular, which is a front-end application. Tensorflow Js is a front-end driven machine learning. Tensorflow Js, I'm talking about in our book, Computational Thinking. I'm going to give more details about that, but Tensorflow Js was born precisely to be a kind of an option for. It was an option because most of the machine learning apps, they are built on Python or R, but I do have articles about that as well. I'm going to make my best to separate all this article in the description of the video. But nowadays you have this kind of TensorFlow Js, which is a very powerful. It's not the only one, but a very powerful by Google Brain tool that you can build very easily. I mean, of course, again, when I say easily, I'm talking about people that know how to use Angular, for example, or Java. In the specific case, my case is Angular. You need to know how to use Angular, but it was designed for JavaScript. But I also create a section on an article, Medium, in which I put for you most of the problem that you're gonna face if you are trying to make. I'm talking to the dev. Here I'm talking to the dev. So when you have the this problem of the dev, so that is, I think I said too much for now because I just want to give you a couple of details about a couple of details, a couple of information. What's behind the app, but see that I'm maybe in the future may launch more. Again, we do have a course on Udemy, teaching not to hold the whole app. The app is a little bit complicated. I may increase the cost in the future, but you do have now a course that is the base. The idea that I'm going to add the course more and more in the future and add maybe all this functionality, because I'm teaching you for zero, try to teach from 0 to 0. So I'm also thinking to launch a book about Angular, scientific Angular, which is Angular used to scientific community, which is I'm doing here. I'm using Angular for the scientific community. Anyway, so let's start. Here is a dashboard, is the central dashboard. You do have the sandbox here, which I have explained on another video. Not all the details because I'm also updating stuff. But anyway, we jump here. The second box I just added for you guys was this one, simple machine learning model. Why simple? Because it's simple. It's a very, in our book, I'm explaining this model a bit more. I'm explaining why this model can be useful. I'm explaining a little bit about how it works. But for now, just keep in mind that it's simple. It seems that it cannot be simpler than that. I mean, and just go to, let's go. Then start. So this is the app. I mean, I may update the interface. I may improve this is a very simple interface right now. The other sandbox, they have a much better interface, but you do have here. I'm using Excel to upload the files. If you go here to in my case that's my desktop. If you go to your desktop, you do have here, I do have an Excel here file. It's a very simple file. I'm not sure yet. I'm still learning how to use it. I'm using a library to do that anyway. But I can maybe in the future talk about that and think about launch a Medium article. Maybe in the course I teach how to use that. It's not very difficult. It's very, I mean, again, if you have, you know how to code. You know how to code is relatively easy to do. But you just import this information here. This is from a book. I explain more on our upcoming book. Essentially, it has a kind of, if I remember well the meaning of that, it's a kind of a purity, or it's a kind of amount of impurity versus the purity of the sample of oxygen. I think that's in the books. I think the books explain that, but even the website, I do have this information. If I remember well, yes, I may have forgotten. Yep, I forgot. I may have forgotten to put here for you, but let's see, I don't have here. But on the original app that I use, the sandbox, I have here the reference, but I have to add the reference here as well. But here's how the app is. The first thing you have to do, I try my best to make it as friendly. I try my best to make it as easy, as friendly as. I mean, I had in mind someone very in the beginning, someone that wanted to learn about machine learning. Keep in mind that deep learning is still in the scene, so this kind of model is no longer. It was quite fast, to be honest. I was even scared how fast it was, but this kind of model is no longer a kind of. I do believe that it can be useful. This model. I mean, the book on a book computational thinking. I'm explaining why I'm thinking that. I'm using the work of Daniel Kahneman. I'm using the work of others to show that this model still can be useful, especially on the decision-making process. But of course, for image segmentation, video segmentation, this model, they just lost space because, I mean, for you a TED Talk that I saw recently about deep learning, how deep learning was so fast. And one of the biggest reasons that the result was very, very, very much better than we had before. So it was impossible for you to, I like to say that it was too good to ignore. It's based on the book of the same guy that wrote the Deep Work, which I mentioned previously. He also wrote something about, I didn't read the book, but since that he wrote the books such as So Good to Ignore, like it was good of deep learning. Deep learning was it's so good that people cannot ignore it. So here it goes. The first thing you have to do is to upload the file. If you do not have the file on a computer, but if you want to play around, you do have here for you Google Sheet. I'm not sure, but I think you can download this sheet here. I can do because I tried as well with a browser, which was I was not logged in. But if you come here and download, you do have here in Excel. You do have here in Excel. So you download Excel to your computer. You download Excel to your computer. Download Excel to your computer, and you download the Excel to your computer, and then you just do the upload here. Then you have here. This is the full data set. The full data set, as you see, the full data set, all the data sets here. It's not very big. There is here just to play around. I'm not here to teach you how to make a big data set, but you do have an example. If you have, for example, maybe I'll leave for you an example like this, but let's see if I can find it here. I don't know if I find here, but because I'm using this opportunity that I'm here, that I can explain you more or less. Because I do have a couple of sandbox. I will leave for you in the description, but I do have, yeah, I'll leave for you in the description, but I do have a sandbox because it's better. If I come here, I go to my story. So I will show you, I was saying before, see that here I'm talking to the devs. I should just explain the app, but I'm using the opportunity as well to talk about this is my Medium profile in which I publish. I consider a amount of article, but most of the time I'm concerned about most of the time I'm concerned about see here. This is the article I'm working on. Yeah, it's like I work several of them, but this one is like you may think that's the one that I published when I was talking about when I was considered. Yes, as I said before, it was published in JavaScript and plain English, as I said before. Because you publish in the Medium, you publish first alone. Yes, no, you can publish as well as a direct, but I published first alone, then I was invited or I submit, I do not remember. But see this one here. This one is the same library. There's much more data. And there is Tensorflow Js is a deep learning machine, a deep learning technique, so it was designed to be used. It's a huge amount of data, which is not our case. You have no need to. Let me see if I have it, because this one here is live sandbox. Is a very nice option from GitHub. If you know, GitHub is a repository for application, in which you can actually get your repository. If you have a repository, you do not need to make the deploy of the application. You can actually make a deploy direct from GitHub, which is very fast. If you compare to how pain in the ass can be sometimes too. It's not very hard, but it can be sometimes boring for you to make the